We are live. This is the market update. I am your host, Bill Noble. If you need a roadmap in crypto, stay with this channel. Turn on alerts so you know when we're going live. And if the content works for you, hit the feedback form in the description down below. Happy Monday. Let's talk. A lot of people think memes are the only way to go in this market. I do not agree. You can make a ton of money on memes if you hit it right, but in some ways, that's going to be a game for super sophisticated investors who spend like literally a lot of time putting in the work on what memes can take off. So there's all this talk about a meme coin super cycle. I don't disagree because I think the big memes can become money. But we'll talk more about it, that there is way more to this market than memes. And if anything, right, the Coinbase base universe is telling you that there's way more to this market than just memes. We'll talk through all of those points. Also, I think you have to consider crypto as a mechanism for freedom and happiness. I also think this is akin to where equities were, years and years ago, where you had a bottom, you had hesitation, and you have a QE event like what's going on in China that, if you go back to the equities example, people didn't fully understand what QE meant back then. And I don't think people fully understand what this Chinese situation means for both interest rates, global liquidity, and I think deflation is more of a risk than inflation. Because if government spending slows down in the U.S. and stimulus has to get pumped into the market to save this gigantic chunk of the world economy, this is going to be the equivalent of essentially nonstop, either high-powered money coming into the system or massively lower interest rates. Everybody thinks inflation is going to reignite. What's going to reignite is Ethereum. We'll go over the charts. Okay, let's welcome all our friends who are here. We have Alexandra, first on the stream. Welcome. Mahet Zapedas, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, David, Lee, Warmon, right? Mr. Relentless, welcome to the show. Neff, always good to see you. Sabah, hello. David, what do you think is going to be max value of Pepe coin? Great question. So Pepe is going to flip Doge and WIF is going to flip sheep, right? In other words, the meme coin super cycle is that these big meme coins become money. Like Bonk, in theory, could become the money of the Solana phone or some other meme, right? I understand that, memes will be a huge component of what young people do to try to innovate, right? It's like social fi or social tech. Right. But, when you look at AI, artificial intelligence, DeepIn, some of this stuff is really only up 20% last week off of its lows, which, again, is a joke. And I think you have to approach the market with a sense of urgency when it's down. Like, red means go. It's the new urgent move. Because eventually you're going to have to FOMO into this market. That's probably later in this month like last year, or frankly, most certainly after the election. So the FOMO is when it's down. At least that's my new theory. Kerville, welcome. Welcome to the show. All right, let's get going with news. Okay, so China is up massively. The Chinese are not only like printing money, They're trying to save their equity markets, which have been totally destroyed. And they're essentially handing out money, telling people to build houses. Not only that, but they're providing news flow on a regular basis. So it's like every night, Asia opens and the Chinese government unveils a new thing. Now, when you start to feed the market sugar like this, you have to continue to feed the market sugar. Let's talk about how much sugar. The Fed printed $85 billion a month for 12 years. The Japanese, which are 1/3 the size of the U.S., at one point started doing $85 billion a month themselves, right? I think they did that for 6 or 7 years. So if China is 20% of the world's GDP and their problems over there are epic, essentially overbuilding, banks failing everywhere because banks were forced to lend money, right, for projects that had no value proposition. It's kind of complicated. I mean, essentially, the Chinese have social order on their mind. They have 100 million people that can't get enough food. So over the last 20 years, the Chinese government has been like, build, 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 because we want people to have jobs so they can come into cities and get work. Okay, so, they essentially, in their way, forced lending and forced the creation of a lot of things just to employ people. And that has now backfired because there's no bid for the real estate. And, industrial production over there is falling out of bed because there's no market for their goods. There is just too much. They've produced too much stuff. So what are they going to do about it? Well, they're going to print. They're going to print to save their country, right? Because, everybody doesn't know this about China, but the people who run China, they care about social order because they want to keep the country together. They don't want China's breaking off into like 6 different places. So they're going to print and print and print. And a lot of people think this is like 2021, where they came in with the COVID rescue package, the VCs pumped it and then dumped it. That's not going to be the case this time around. It's going to be of a more sustained uptrend. You have car companies crashing in Europe. 1 minute luxury goods were up last week, and now they're crashing. Okay, you're going to have a massive slowdown in the Western world. Massive, right? I mean, the Fed is just going to cut and cut and cut, probably all the way down to 2%, right? Social Security, government spending, right? Government spending has to go down. If they don't stop government spending at some point, you're going to have major issues here. Major. You're going to have a disorderly down move in the dollar. And no one wants that, right? So assuming we got a new administration coming in, at least that's what capital markets are assuming, government spending has got to go down. And if that's the case, that brings inflation to zero. If they really have to cut, and of course, any new administration, right, would want to take the pain early. They'd want to have Elon come in, make sure he gets his money for SpaceX and Tesla and cut everything else. All right, now about the election, just so you know, I think there's a lot of people who are worried about the free speech thing. I think that's accurate, right? Just say people are worried about it. I mean, there have been statements made, Hillary Clinton, John Kerry, they're out on the tape saying it. Listen, we cannot have free speech if we're going to govern. That's what Kerry said yesterday. So, I mean, you got guys like Joe Rogan saying, hey, I'm a little worried about my show. Elon was a bit more dramatic about, this is the last election ever. That's kind of S-posting. But this returns me to what I've been telling you guys about crypto over and over and over again, right? You could be on your feed and see what's wrong with the world, or you could be on crypto, getting busy, hitting the green button, building a new world for yourself, being a part of something bigger. Is that corny? Maybe, right? But it sounds a lot better than whatever's on your newsfeed. And this guy Rogan is not wrong, right? I mean, there are people who want to do different things out there. It's just different, right? And it doesn't mean that they have you in mind when they're doing it. That goes for all of them. I'm serious. So it's like whatever your view is, the green button. Suddenly, student loan debt went from 300 billion to 2 trillion. And people didn't get value out of those educations. They didn't. Like in the 80s and the 90s, you had to go to college in order to get somewhere. In the 2000s, if you had a graduate business degree, it was like you were set. Now you get these degrees, they don't go anywhere. So how is this whole generation going to get out of this? Well, some people think the government has to wipe out the loans. Other people think people shouldn't go to college. I got a better idea. How about we buy crypto? How about we just grab it? Okay, another reminder that character is not formed because you're smart. Character is formed because people have suffered. And man, I got to tell you, you look at this group, you look at these base coins, you look at what happened to Arrow, you look at the way this market went down, like the 2-month correction was a 6-month correction, and we are grinding on this stream being like, yo, don't give up the ship, reallocate money, save your portfolio, but don't rage quit the space. Yo, you're going to say to yourself, man, I lived through that. I went through that. And you know what? One day, sooner than you think, you won't even be able to find the 6-month correction on a chart. Be like, wow, it went up early in the year, and then there was a sideways, and then it went up again so much. I can't believe that everybody was fixated on being negative in a correction that was, based on, I don't know, artificial suppression, fear about interest rates and inflation and all kinds of, frankly, BS that just isn't true. It isn't true. And even if it is true, it has nothing to do with crypto, to be honest with you. Nothing. All right. Now, I had something that was absolutely a must talk about. Okay. Yeah. This guy. Okay. So I'm sure this guy is very smart, and he did a great job of getting everybody's attention, including mine. I saw this, and I actually took to the air in the middle of the night to talk about this "you're not going to make it" mentality in crypto. Okay. I don't know when we abandoned "we're all going to make it." I mean, I remember we're all going to make it in the middle of FTX when we should have been selling everything and headed for a bunker. Now the market is turning. You have fear, greed at 60%, just not high. I mean, if someone tells you that they're 60% in love with you, or they only like you 60%, that's not going to make you feel warm and fuzzy. This is not extreme sentiment. Yeah, okay, people are pumped up after last week, but we're still doing this. We're still doing, you're not going to make it, okay? You must unlearn everything that came before you. True, in that crypto and the rest of the world, crypto has nothing to do with the rest of the world. So people want to blow themselves up or have wildly overvalued equities, frankly, that favors crypto. And yes, holding Stellar or Cardano is probably not the way to go when you have other coins that are going to move faster, but you'll probably own all the coins that are going to move faster. And the AI and DeFi space have gigantic long-term upside. So this guy is like, stop deluding yourself. It's memes only. Dude, come on. Right? And even if telling people it's memes only is putting people into a casino, and in casinos, smart money wins and everyone else loses. Like everyone. So, I mean, are you going to be a professional meme coin analyst? I mean, I know guys who they're like professional traders. They're staring at memes all day long. There are other ways to make money in crypto, right? Especially if this is going to be a 15-year upcycle, right? And people continue to focus on 2021. Now, what he's saying is right in the sense that in 2021, you could have bought anything and it could have gone up, and everyone's still looking for that. I think you got to be looking for the next Magnificent Seven. But again, to tell people it's not 2021 and that you have to go to all memes, I don't know, man. In any trend, the speculative stuff rallies first, okay? Alt season, where a rising tide lifts all boats, is a product of a bygone era. Okay, well, if you have indiscriminate mooning like 2021 in a very confined space, yes. But I mean, what would you call the tech rally of the last 10 years? Would you call that tech season, or would you just call that a complete reevaluation of all the technological innovations? Because the Magnificent Seven was not the Magnificent Seven 10 years ago, right? We are in crypto where equities were at the start of a massive trend. So telling people that they're not going to make it and don't bother with anything related to tech, the future of money, etc., is totally insane. Not to mention the fact it doesn't discuss privacy and all these other things. I mean, if they want to control how you talk, what else are they trying to control? Okay. Now, this is true. Your opportunity cost of being in underperforming assets will be extremely high. Yes, if you look at meme coins at 1000x, you'll feel bad about whatever it is you're holding. But don't laugh. Warren Buffett didn't make all of his money chasing the hot thing of the moment. Now, yes, Gen Z will innovate. Memes will be big. I get it. But you make real money in markets getting in when people are sleeping or asset prices are depressed, which I think is the case. I think that is true in both cases right now in crypto. And then you just huddle on. Okay. In other words, buying Ethereum at 2,600 might be a 2 or 3x, right? But the 1000x is elsewhere. Okay. You can allocate a part of your portfolio to try to catch 1000x. People want to invest 100 and make 100,000. I get it. I get it. But that's not why we're here. Or that's not why I'm here, right? Because I think you can get people on a trend that can save their lives, right? This ability to transact in crypto, or the ability to use multiple DEXs, cross chains, to be able to use the whole new financial universe. I mean, if you knew how to use ETFs or futures in legacy, you had this massive investing advantage. Okay, so you need to rotate your liquidity into assets that have motion. True, but that's not just memes. Okay, and then this guy is like, meme coins will win. Don't be stubborn. Again, he's telling you you won't make it. You will make it. You are going to make it, period. You're not going to make it just because you stand there and buy some stuff mindlessly, but it's not as hard as he's telling you it is. Okay. IG shut down. YouTube shut down. Like I said, the guy does an interview and you're shut down. This is just something that we got to live with, folks. These platforms are private property and they're going to shut down whatever they don't like. Okay. What can't they shut down? Price. That's what they can't shut down. You can't shut down price. You can't shut down the decentralized universe. Okay. Fear, greed is now at 63. Again, your significant other wakes up and says, I only love you 63%. There's a lot of room for improvement. A lot. Right? 63 is not a high number to me. The bull case for Coinbase in one paragraph. Why would BlackRock custody their Bitcoin with Coinbase when you could have the Bank of New York doing it? And Willie Woo says Bitcoin is 15 years old. Coinbase has 12 years of custody experience without incident. Okay. The big bank just started, and Bitcoin, the point of it is to get rid of banks. So, of course, it's great that the big banks can onboard people into crypto by, acting as custody agents. That said, right, Coinbase is Galaxy Digital, MicroStrategy, Bitcoin miners, massively undervalued investments. Massively. The whole crypto ecosystem is massively undervalued. Galaxy Digital is invested, in a lot of good high beta stuff, like the tech part and even the meme part of crypto. So why would you not think Coinbase is a good investment? Not investment advice. Okay, so yeah, if you have cash, this is what's happened to you, the value of your cash, as you know, right? You just cannot hold cash. You got to have a different currency. The gold market is telling you that. The dollar has been devalued already versus regular goods. Now it's being devalued versus gold. Then it's going to be devalued versus crypto. And then maybe it'll eventually be devalued against some other fiat currency. But if they can't devalue it versus other fiat currencies, they're going to devalue it versus gold, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. We'll get the one chart market update soon. Wait a minute. I thought Ethereum was dead. You mean $1 billion just went into the Ethereum ETF? It's like, how'd that happen? It's like, oh, I slipped on a banana peel and $1 billion all of a sudden got over into Ethereum. Come on, man. People are not seeing what I'm seeing and what you're seeing. You're seeing the base ecosystem wake up. I'm seeing, like these integral macro things that can drive prices for years. What, I'm the only one who can see these things? Of course not. Of course not. Right? That's how $1 billion gets inside the Ethereum ETF. That's how it happens. Okay, CZ is out. Most important thing, CZ breaks silence. CZ is going to be a thought leadership because, again, they've already put him in jail. So what are they going to do? Put him in jail again? No. CZ is going to stand at the top of the mountain and scream crypto forever. And he's going to innovate. You do 4 months in jail, you're going to come out motivated. 4 months is a long time in the life of like a normal person. That's a long time, right? In other words, people don't often go on 4 month business trips. Military deployments can sometimes be like 4 to 6 months. It's a long time to go away. And when you come back, you're going to be really passionate about what you're doing. Really passionate. Okay, billionaires are moving from the UK for Swiss-based hubs. You know what, folks? Voting with your feet is going to be like a new thing. It's like, you guys want to act like this? I'm leaving. They're a long way away from building walls to keep us in. Like, we're not at the Berlin Wall phase yet. I know nobody knows what that is, but crypto is going to happen no matter what anyone tries to do. How much Gensler did we put up with? Like, Gensler is done. Done. People have that is not fully priced in yet. It's not, because Gensler held down innovation in the space on the tech side, threatening everything to become a security. Now, the good news about Gensler is that, he made projects have to be stronger. Like, people had to come out and not just throw some project out there. They had to make sure that, it would stand up to regulatory scrutiny. That means everything that's come out and will come out is just like very powerful, because, they've had to fortify themselves against this like regulatory mentality. Now, of course, it should tell you something about meme coins in general when Mudang makes CNN. Now, I know that it's been life-changing money for some people. I'm sure it could continue if they wanted it to. But when you're making CNN, you're like, okay, maybe we're going to rotate to something else. Maybe there's something else out there. And maybe it's the big coins, right? Because, again, the big coins can eventually be used as money. The revolution in memes is not just memes for social purposes, although, that's valid, right? Make your meme viral, you make a lot of money. Totally get that. Love it, in fact. But memes as money is going to be the next thing, the next big thing. Okay. 16 trillion by 2030. So, everybody has a massive upside target for Bitcoin and a massive upside target for, total crypto market cap. But nobody's talking about 100K by December for Bitcoin. Nobody's talking about DPIN. No one's talking about these things. right? It gets a lot of media attention to do the hyperbole numbers, but what should you be doing now when the market's down, right? If we're going to 16 trillion in total market cap, every 4% down move, you need to be grabbing it. And that was true in equities once QE started. Like when the market looked bad and it was a little scary, that's when you were paid to buy equities on every ugly dip. Now, some of the dips were uglier than others, but I mean, there were guys that, once Bernanke said QE forever, you were basically paid. The central banks didn't let equities go down more than 5%. 5%, the plunge protection team came in. And I think with crypto, there's no plunge protection team, but the macro reality is such to where crypto hedge funds and big players are going to use the equities mentality of buy every 5% dip, period. All right. 70K has never been closer. There's a lot of people actually talking about 70K now. Okay. Bitcoin bull run hopes dimming. See, this is what we do, right? The bear gets the bull, right? It's down one day and we all freak out. Wrong. How Sui surged 100%, okay, with the bet on gaming. You better be careful because Sui literally looks just like Solana did at like 40 or 50. There could be a lot more upside in that thing. Like everyone's like, well, what do I do about Sui? Do I FOMO in? You try to grab Sui on any dip. And if you're wrong, then you just stop out and you do the trade again at a lower price. But the fact that everybody is like, should I get in? Like there's an organic hesitation because the market's been getting hammered for 6 months. Forget about that. The mentality is I'm going with the winners. Like that one guy that I kind of hammered on was right in the sense that you want to jump on what's working. The market is telling you what's going to work long-term now. So it's like, oh, should I get in? Should I do this? Or should I get out? I mean, you could take trading profits and rotate it around, maybe. But then again, this isn't the time to get cute. It's the time to get in. You can play the rotation game after the election. Right now is the time to find, okay, I think this is the new Magnificent Seven, which Sui could be in there and get involved. Period. Right? Period. Vitalik. Does anybody remember this? I mean, can you name a crypto project where the guy who's headed a crypto project is like, he's only got one name, like no one calls him by his last name. He's just like Vitalik, like Michael Jordan, Michael. You know what I'm saying? It's like everyone has forgotten about this guy. And I think that's a serious mistake, right? Because Ethereum, as gold and silver go up, eventually Ethereum, it's just going to wake up and frankly erupt, which is why I'm pumped up on down days. Experts predict XRP could do something big. We'll go over the XRP chart. XRP is money. It's money, and it's a fast payment system. Speed is going to matter. Speed has mattered this whole little perky up move. Phantom, all these things that move quickly. The market is willing to pay a premium for speed. And here, this is so funny. The Motley Fool came out 20 years ago. Like this was originally for like tech stocks way back in the day. 25 years ago, this and the street.com and Yahoo Finance. Ironically, this epically boomer website is the only one who's going, should you be grabbing Bitcoin below 70K with gusto? Yeah. But this is the only one asking the question. It's like, is this on sale below 70? Yeah, dude. Yeah, it is. It so is. Right now, Sentiment is noting that, bullish sentiment went way up. Okay. Bullish sentiment went way up, but they're sort of noting that bullish sentiment way up and then expecting this. They're waiting for whatever happened during the correction. Well, what they're going to get is bullish sentiment's going to go up. They'll have a correction. everybody will start questioning themselves, but I don't think you get this. And what happens when you don't get this and people are sitting around hesitating? You just get more up-only action. The October surprise in an election year, there's always an October surprise. The October surprise could be that crypto just takes off, that they can't hold Bitcoin down, even with FTX distributions and all this stuff that's coming. If you've been hodling crypto for 2 years, why would you sell now? Same thing with Mt. Gox. You've been hodling for years. Why would you just dump it now? Right? Visa wants in. We talked about this last week. Well, you think these big players, again, they're not going to have a crypto strategy? They're not going to have a crypto strategy. Okay, Solana flipping Ethereum is all the new talk, right? There's a multi-coin capital guy who talked at, a Singapore conference. The key to Solana catching up to Ethereum is going to be stable coin movements on Solana, which is inevitable and is happening and is 5x what it was, I don't know, say a year ago. Now, most of the stable coins are running on ETH. They're not running on Solana. But is that going to change? Right? This is an elaborate way of saying Solana is money. Solana is a fast payment system. How is that not going to catch on massively? Again, people are like, well, it's all about memes. The first leg of any move is led by highly speculative stuff. Solana can accrue a lot of the value that occurs on that network. A lot of the value. Now, just because it's all memes in the beginning doesn't mean it's not going to evolve, especially with the phone and ideas about stable coins and payment systems. Again, PayPal is in. How long do you think these other big companies are going to take, right? Total economic value, right? Solana is very far behind Ethereum on that count. So everybody is taking the multi-coin capital presentation, which I watched Altcoin Daily do, about whether or not Solana can catch up to Ethereum. That's a good question, but I think the attitude should be, how much can altcoins like Total 2, like ETH, XRP, Solana, like what would happen if all of these things took off? In other words, if you looked at altcoin market cap versus Bitcoin market cap, can the altcoins as a group start rampaging higher and start valuing themselves closer to Bitcoin? Like Bitcoin is money, right? But what about technology? So how much, instead of being like, well, it's Solana versus Ethereum, it's, get rid of such and such coin because it's dead and it's not going to move up? Or should you be focused on, hey, what are the big 7 coins I can get in? Because if Pepe, XRP, bonk with ETH and say fetch, throw in, Sui and maybe 3 others, you've got a magnificent 7. The magnificent 7 of crypto. If you can figure that out now, which is what I'm doing, you're going to be in incredible shape going forward. Okay, let's welcome who else is here, because I'm really going off this morning. Leo, Huber's Ranch, welcome. Flo is in the house. Justin, SGSG, the original. Encrypt. Morena, welcome. Okay, PowerPoint, let's go. There is a 1 chart market update in here. Some guy who did like an Ethereum price match. Okay, so somebody took a piece of Ethereum's history and pasted it on the current Ethereum range. So the current Ethereum range is the pink line, and, the Ethereum black line here is their projection based on what Ethereum did sometime in the past. I believe it was the run up last year. So ETH went into a range last year and then ETH went up. The market went into a range last year, bored everyone to tears. And then once it started, it just went. And his thesis is talking about ETH at 20,000. So, okay, that's cool. This is the deflation trade. That's how this price match matters. In other words, if you have interest rates falling and falling and falling and precious metals rising and rising and rising, ETH has to go with it. If you have Bitcoin at 150K or 125K by March, where's ETH? Well, I don't know if it's 20,000, but it's massively higher from where it is right now. And you've heard this from me and will continue to hear it from me. Okay, XRP, complex head and shoulders bottom, 6 attempts to press a market lower. If you get real breakouts in big altcoins, they can start pulling the entire market up with it. You know, a 15 or 20% rally in XRP gets the whole market going. A 40% rally implied by this head and shoulders bottom, you know, gets you price action that is more shocking than last year. Crypto has this funny habit of looking at uncertain events like elections and wars and just going, I'm not going to wait until this is over. I'm going to buy it now. Meanwhile, they're all sitting around in equities worrying about stuff. Forget that. Forget it. The Chinese have told you to forget it. They've told you that they're in so much trouble, there could be a negative event in legacy that brings in the Fed massively. Like, brings in the Fed as in like having to rescue a bank or put high-powered money in the system. Or they don't wait for the bank to go down. They just put the high-powered money in the system now, which is basically what's happening, right? Okay, so things you can't talk about on YouTube anymore, ever. This is the Orange Man's meme coin, and it's really funny. Memes are the new super cycle. You know, you got to be long memes. It's memes only, yet nobody wants to touch any of these political coins. Everybody wanted to be out of these political coins at the election, and they sold way earlier, and they destroyed them, and everyone gave up. So, I mean, there's Orange Man, there's, you know, left wing, center, you know, Bobby's meme coin, it went to zero. There's a lot of meme coins out there that people just won't touch. You got to be kidding me. This election, you know, and the sort of the aftermath of anything that looks like power to the people. You know, if it looks like that, you can have euphoria in capital markets. Now, you don't have to like or not like any of these people, but you can acknowledge that if you have euphoria in capital markets, meme coins associated with that euphoria, with this giant event, could have long-term social value and no one will touch it. They loved it at 12, but they hated it at $1.80. And now no one will touch it at $2.80 because they think it's overbought. Meanwhile, it's sitting on top of a trend line. Okay, ETH. Nice 5-wave structure off the lows. Beautiful. The uptrend has started. The only question is, where do you grab it? Do you grab it at the 23% retracement, or did they hit it to 2,500? I don't know what the case is to hit ETH back down to 2,500, but you never know what these ninnies will do. I say buy the shallow dip, not investment advice. Bitcoin, same thing on DeMark, right? 90-minute chart. You get a little bit of a top, a little glide sideways. They drop it on whatever they dropped it on. And the second you get a buy signal like a 9 bottom, you go in. If the rally fails, okay, then, you know, it's going to go lower. But if it doesn't, right, there's more risk of missing it when it's down. This is why there's more urgency when it's down, in my opinion. And even if they try to hit this thing one more time this morning, again, when's the urgency? When it's down. You got a dip for 6 months. Everyone wants a dip now. They just gave you a dip. Dips are a day or an afternoon until proven otherwise. Bitcoin on a daily chart. You break a big DeMark level, you come back and retest it. They give you retests, take it. Global stock market capitalization per Bank of America research is now back at its 2021 high. So ask yourself this question. Solana, is it at its 2021 high? No. Is ETH at its 2021 high? No. Ask XYZ coin if it's at its 2021 high. No. Chainlink, DeFi, none of this stuff. Now, all that stuff's not going to make it. All that stuff's not going to go up as much as meme coins. I get it. But you cannot have equities where they are and crypto sit here. You just can't. Right? And I saw an interview with a major head of a Silicon Valley company essentially saying there is absolutely right now no limit as to what they can do with AI models if they add hardware. So where does that put DePIN? Where does that put the AI-based cryptos? I mean, what? There's no home for decentralized AI and DePIN when you have hardware demand off the charts and equities valuations where they are right now? Crypto just has to catch up with equities, and it can because we have tech, AI, money, and finance, right? And we have a way of pulling capital into the system through meme coins. Okay, ETH on Solana on a daily chart. Solana is consolidating just below 160. Now, if you want to put your 2021 hat on, here's where you can put it on. When you would have consolidations in the last cycle just below resistance, it paid to actually, quote, buy the resistance, because once it broke through, it's exploded. And it was hard to find trade location. Whereas now it's like, okay, Solana's at 155 and my downside is 145 with these moving averages. But if it just sits here pressed against this resistance, it's just going to explode through. And when you explode through, you're going to take out the previous fourth wave. In other words, you're going to take out the start of the last give up trade at the start of September. You do this in Solana, you're going to ignite the whole space. The whole altcoin space could just go banana curve, and you need one breakout in Solana, which is why, you're like, wow, Bill, it's like, did you accidentally put the energy drink, the pre-workout powder in the coffee instead of the creamer? No, but I'm saying if we're going to get long and we got to move money around, you better do it before Solana blows through 160. SUI, okay. So this is a topping signal, and what are you getting? A pause. That's it. That's it. This is exactly what Solana did on the way up last year. Went up, it paused, it sat there for a week. You had a week to get involved before it just exploded again. Pepe has not even gotten to the previous fourth. Or Pepe has not even fully retraced the entire give-up trade from early in September. I was like, memes are the future. Okay, yeah. So, but the thing is, everyone's talking that talk. Everybody's looking and nobody's putting, meaning you got to put money down and get involved in this stuff on whatever dip. Because if Pepe takes out the previous fourth wave, it could just keep going and going and going and going, because hedge funds have to chase big meme coins because that's where they can get beta. They may not be able to do Mudang, but they can do Pepe and Bonk because they can get liquidity. Arrow. Okay, so Arrow is, right on support from where this thing fell out of bed back in June. So what did Arrow do? Well, Arrow went down a lot and scared everybody beyond belief. Like, I don't know how anybody stayed in Arrow except for the fact that I was maybe telling people don't give up on crypto. But this was just like down, down, down. Just everybody out of the base ecosystem where you can onboard Web3 with fiat through Coinbase. Everybody gave up on this. And now it's up and everyone's like, should I sell? I'm like, well, if you're a trader, you can take some money and pay yourself for a good idea. But if you put up with all the suffering, why would you even touch this? Leave it. Right? I mean, where is this going to be in 5 years? These are the questions you got to start asking yourself. And that is the market update. Okay. So let me just get somewhere here. Okay. All right. So wrapping this up, I'm thinking I've made my point. You want to get intensely involved in this market on down days, especially if there's bad news about things like geopolitical conflicts, disappointments about, anything going on in China, election fears. Frankly, in crypto, it's all bunk. We've lived through the worst of it. And anytime they give you the dip, take it from them. Okay, that's it for today. I will see you tomorrow.